Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast, where we discuss what's happening in the cryptosphere and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Buckle up and huddle on while we dive in and get weird. Here are your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going, Kim?
It's going pretty good. Glad it's Thursday. We have a big weekend.
We do have a big weekend. We're celebrating the 4th of July and America's independence.
And
hopefully some good weather and barbecue.
You're hilarious. We're also celebrating Joshua's birthday.
This is true. Yeah. I was trying to be dismissive of that fact, but yes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell at all. Not even a little.
Yes, this is true. So I'm turning 33, and one of my friends the other day was like, hey, that's the year Jesus was crucified. This is your year to leave everything on the cross. And I was like, I know you mean that in a good way, but that sounds so horrible. Like, yeah, this is the year you're gonna die. And I'm like, thanks. And he didn't like mean it physically like that, so I understood, but I just thought it was like, man, that's not like an uplifting a thing. I mean, I'm sure you can it's also his resurrection year, so you could make something good about it out of
Right.
that.
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny. For the record, I think 33 was my favorite year.
Nice.
It was great.
Well, then I have something to look forward to.
You have a lot to look forward to. I'm fully rooted in the concept that my 30s have been my best yet. I've liked my 30s.
Yeah, so far my 30s have been pretty great.
So let's start in with some market updates. I kind of want to giggle and cry at the same time. Bitcoin is down about 4.75% in 24 hours, down about 4.1% over 7 days. It is under 20,000. It's sitting at about 19,160. Ethereum, ouch. Ethereum is down 7.5% over 24 hours, but only 2.1% over 7 days. And it's hovering right at the $1,000 mark. I think people are probably expecting to see it dip down under 1,000 today. As always, we like to do the biggest positive mover in the top 100, and that today is the number 13 coin, Shiba, or SHIB. It's up a whopping 3% in 24 hours. And 6.1 over 7 days. It's still sitting at 1/10,000th of a cent.
You know, if that just hits $1, we're all going to be all right.
He says this because people say this in our circle a lot. Some as a joke and some serious. So I guess you take it however you want to take that.
Yeah.
She was actually the first cryptocurrency that I bought for my daughter. She was 5, and obviously we're into crypto, and so she hears a lot about it. She can pick out the Bitcoin symbol. I mean, all the things. But there was one day she's like, Mom, I want some crypto. And I was like, okay, what do you want? She goes, I don't know, but I want 1,000 of them. And so I think I had like $7 left in a fiat wallet. And so I bought her some Shiba, and it was like 1.1 million Shiba. And so then I got to tell her that she had 1.1 million cryptocurrency tokens, and she was so excited.
Her college is set.
I know. If she would just go to $1, right?
Life would be beautiful.
So funny. Anyway,
Uh,
Shiba is well known for just being a meme coin.
yep.
It was kind of following in the footsteps of Doge. I have heard that it has some other functions that are built into it. I don't know what they are. I'll just be honest. I've not seen them in practice. I've not even seen them touted much.
I think it's a little bit like Doge did to some extent, where started out as a meme and gained a little bit of utility just because of its popularity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
We want to talk about the generations and really what kind of the up and coming generations, I'd say up and coming. So the millennials and Generation Z are really starting to look at what does investment look like for them in these days.
Yeah, there's we've talked about this in some previous episodes, but what people value is different in different generations. And this isn't a new concept. I think it's been true throughout all of history, but you just look at one generation to the next and they put their value in different places, and they may have some similarities and they're going to have some nuances. But I found this quote that I thought was particularly interesting. It said, "Millennials and Gen Z invest when it's fun." And it says now they're willing to ride out the crash. Now they're riding out the crash. And I think that is so telling of millennials and Gen Z. Like, it's they don't view the normal investment vehicles the same as their parents do. They want to invest in what they like. They want to invest in what's fun. They want to invest in their friend's startup who's doing something cool. They don't want to invest in Microsoft. Now, some of them may also do that,
Right.
but there is a shift in value systems and people really putting their money to what they believe is valuable. And I think you see this a little bit with NFTs. Like, if you think about NFT music or NFT art or NFT anything, you're not going to buy it unless you see value in it.
Right.
You're not going to buy that song if you don't see value in that song. And that's sort of true all along. I mean, I remember the days of the Apple iTunes store and paying 99 cents for a song because I liked it. I mean, that's sort of the same thing we're talking about. So it's not necessarily a new concept, it's just presenting itself in a new technology.
Absolutely. I think it's also quite interesting because I will say this. I am a millennial, believe it or not. And I would say that starting with maybe even a bit of the generation before the millennials, the Gen Xers, I think we've started to realize that what our parents have all banked on for retirement and how they've invested is going to look vastly different than what we need to do if we want to retire. My parents' generation, they're boomers and they have Social Security to fall back on. We pay into Social Security, but we will never see any of that money. Right. And so it's already, we have to have a different mindset about investments if we're trying to save to retire. And I think you look at normal corporate kind of jobs where you can save for a 401k. But really, you're handing your money over for someone else to handle and hopefully get some return for you. I think what crypto has done is it's merged these two things of like pop culture and saving for the future into one thing that has kind of become fun for people. And for me, I think it's fun. I've learned far more about trading, investments, markets, even just terminology with markets, how to trade, all of these things since I've gotten into crypto. And honestly, even through the crash, I am still more ahead in my investments than my 401k that I invested into for a good 15 years is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think
Mhm.
people are seeing that, and they can see that they can go out and have fun, and they can have a say in what they're putting their money in and believe in what they're putting their money in. And I think that it has some real elements of fun and freedom, and innovation.
Yeah. When you said people are putting their money in what they believe in, I think that's so true. And I think that will also shape culture moving forward because I may invest in a project because it's popular and I have potential to make some money on it, but I will long term invest in a project that I truly believe in. And no matter where the price goes, I will continue to invest in that project because I believe in it. And that's really going to be impactful in society and culture if generations really start putting their money into what they believe in and not just what is going to make them money over the next few years.
So
That's going to have
true.
a big impact on society, on culture, on our economy because the things that people no longer value will start to fade away. And
Yeah.
some of those may be systems that we've had for years. But
Mhm.
if no one values it and no one puts money in it, it will end.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll be really interesting to watch this play out for a while because I think we're going to see a shift in our economy. I think we'll see a shift in the way society functions and the type of interactions that we have with retailers and each other because we're changing what we believe.
Absolutely. I also think we're kind of coming out of the age of the GoFundMe stuff. You know what I mean? Our Kickstarters, the GoFundMe. Um, I don't know if I want to call that a generation, but there's kind of like this era of
Mhm.
these things are really big, and people got really into them because they can invest their money into something they believe in, something they think is going to be beneficial for society or for themselves, whatever. But what I think crypto is doing, and this of along the same stream of investing in what you believe in, is you can find the projects that you believe in, invest in them, and still have the potential for some return on investment, for some vote in governance of how things go.
Yeah.
there's there's stuff that kind of surrounds the whole crypto community that puts power in the people's hands who want to invest in it, who believe in it. And it's more than just, okay, I've put money in, you do the thing and make it happen. It's more interactive. And I think people long for that.
Yeah. It's like an evolution of GoFundMe. It's still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crowdfunding, but with now having ownership in something.
Exactly.
It's taking it on as yours, not just, "Oh, this is a really cool project. Sure, I'll give you $100." Like, now it's, "No, like, Sheeb is so cool. Like, I put $1,000 into it, and now I own part of Sheeb." And there's a lot of tokens that, I mean, where you own and you get voting rights and
Mhm.
you are truly part of that community should you wish to be part of that community. And that's, I mean, sure, that existed in the stock market? Yes, in some form, but it's just a continual evolution, a continual shift in technology and the way things are done.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's almost, I don't want to say it's more tangible because it's still online and you're not physically holding a coin in your hand.
Yeah.
Um, but I think sometimes it's a bit more available. So even if it's in the stock market, you have to be able to figure out how to get in or become a broker yourself. You know what I mean? I don't think it's as easy to get into the stock market unless you're going through something like Robinhood, which then poses some of its own issues, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think the other thing that's interesting to point out is transitions between generations are not always known for being peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Like transitions between value systems are
Mm-hmm.
not always known for being peaceful. So we've talked a lot about Luna here before. Was a big We were big fans of it, great project. And I truly believe that their stable coin was wasn't just a fluke that it crashed, but that it was attacked, that
Mm-hmm.
that systems that it presented change to weren't happy about the change and attacked it. And just recently, Tether had a slip in their value. And now it was like very, very minor, like a 10,000th of a penny or something like that. But it was still enough that it caught news because and it was actually pointed out that this happened because so many people were shorting it, were betting against it, that it that they had to really tap into their reserves and they couldn't hold their value for a moment of time,
Mm-hmm.
which is essentially what happened with UST, Luna's stablecoin. It just wasn't able, the reserves weren't enough to keep it where it was because so many people were betting against it. And so you see this where these stable coins really present issues for traditional investment vehicles like normal stock and bonds and IRAs and 401ks. Crypto presents issues for those, or they present change for those. Like, I don't even know if I want to pit them against each other. It's just an evolution, it's a change in how things are done. It's another vehicle that you can use for that. And I think some of the people who are rooted and grounded in the old systems are going to resist that change. And some of those old systems have a lot of money, and which means that in this earth, they have a lot of influence.
Right.
And so, just like I truly believe Luna was attacked and was not mature enough to stand up on its own, didn't have the resources to stand up on its own, that other cryptos will experience similar things where they will be tested to see, do enough people believe in this that we can fight out an attack. And I think you'll see that from time to time. And maybe it won't be quite as, like, won't be worded quite that way, but I think that's really what's going on is you have this tension between two value systems, and you're sort of in this back and forth until one of them will win out.
Right. Here's what I find about that encouraging, though. Let me just say this. 2 years ago, in June of 2020, cryptos started soaring, right? Um, it it all had a big crash in March of 2020, just like the stock markets did with all of the COVID global pandemic stuff. And then cryptos really started soaring. They gained in popularity, they gained in value. It was like riding a rocket to the moon. It's no wonder that people use that terminology all the time. It's just because this is how it was behaving. But it
Right.
was still very much this like side little pet project thing that real investors, those are quote fingers if you're only hearing the audio, real investors saw as kind of a little joke. But as it's gained traction and big investors Now it's starting to be attacked, but that's because it's threatening the system that is already at play. And so I'm encouraged that I kind of see this as a mark to its legitimacy. That people are taking it seriously. It really could overtake the system that has already been in place for so long, or at least has the potential to challenge it, or to challenge the status quo even. So I don't think all of this has to be bad news. I think we can look for little indicators like that say, hey, this is really kind of the marks of change.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you're like change, I like change. So I'm encouraged by that. And I'm all about innovation. I'm all about improvement. I don't want to go back to the Stone Age and only have wheels that are made out of limestone. Like, I don't think that's helpful. I'd rather things continue to be innovating.
Yeah. I think that's so important that we continue to innovate. It's the natural path of things. I think if you're not innovative, then you become stagnant and you start to deteriorate. That's just kind of the cycle of life and death of things. And sometimes death is messy and painful, but brings new things. Things come from hard times. Innovation comes from a need to create something new. We go through phases where we used to trade in seashells, and all of a sudden that isn't meeting the needs that we currently have. So we innovate, we create something else. Where now we have an economy, we have a financial system that is not quite meeting the needs of the new generations. And they're desperate to innovate and find something that will. And do we have it yet? I don't know. I mean, I think things will continue to evolve and change and grow, but I think we'll get to a point where we sort of shift from kind of this dual system to all of a sudden we shift into something new, and now it's not just one or two people that are trading in gold and 1,000 that are trading in seashells. It's one or two people that are trading in seashells and 1,000 that are trading in gold and silver.
Right. Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's important. And honestly, I'm excited to see where it goes. I just am. And I really do think that it is these two generations, it is the millennials and Gen Z that are going to drive this.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm on board for it. Let's go.
Same. Good stuff.
All right. Well, we would love to hear your thoughts on innovation and where you see things going and where you place your value. What do you think is fun? Like, reach out, let us know. We'd like to hear.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya. Thank you for listening. Join us every Monday and Thursday as we discuss trading on earth as it is in heaven. If you want to connect further, follow us on social media at market.mystics for Instagram and TikTok, and search for Market Mystics on YouTube and Facebook. If you still need more, follow the link on Facebook to book a coaching appointment. Until next time, see ya.